Once again, welcome back to the program. ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਸੈਗਮੈਂਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਬੈਰੀਆ ਬੈਪਟਿਸਟ ਚਰਚ ਤੋਂ ਆਏ ਹੋਏ ਸਾਡੇ ਮਹਿਮਾਨ ਨੈਂਸੀ ਬੇਲੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ। ਇਹ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਣਗੇ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਚਰਚ ਦੀ ਕੀ ਫਿਲਾਸਫੀ ਹੈ, ਕਿਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਵਿਸ਼ਵਾਸ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਖਾਸ ਤੌਰ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਅੰਤਰਰਾਸ਼ਟਰੀ ਪੱਧਰ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਕਿਹੜੇ-ਕਿਹੜੇ ਕੰਮ ਕੀਤੇ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਸਵਾਗਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਇਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਵਿੱਚ ਨੈਂਸੀ ਬੇਲੀ ਦਾ। Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Thank you. So could you tell us a little bit about your church, Berea Baptist Church? When was it established? What all it has done so far?
I did not look up the details of when it was established.
Right.
I do know that originally it was called Reedville Baptist Church.
Okay.
And it was a few blocks away from its present location, which is 132nd Street and 60th Avenue. Then when they moved to the new location, they changed the name to Berea Baptist. It was called Reedville Baptist before because that was the neighborhood was called Reedville.
Okay.
And they named it Berea Baptist because that's a town mentioned in the New Testament,
Okay.
where the people were very eager to receive the teaching of the apostles, and they studied the scriptures daily.
Right. Okay. So Nancy, other denominations also believe in Jesus Christ. So what is different in this particular church, which is when we compare it with the others?
Well, it's a Protestant church,
Right.
but different Protestant churches have slight differences, kind of like different flavors.
Right.
And in a Baptist church, the key thing is baptism. Baptism is done by being immersed in the water,
Right.
and it's a choice that an adult makes,
Right.
as opposed to a Catholic church or even a Presbyterian church where a baby is baptized.
Okay. So when you say it depends upon an adult when to get baptized, could you please elaborate on that and tell our viewers who can understand it a little bit more as to what is the ceremony all about? When we say an adult is going to get baptized, what happens at that time?
Well, first of all, an adult who chooses to get baptized goes through a baptismal class,
Okay.
so that they understand what they're agreeing to and what it's all about. It is a profession of faith.
Okay.
And at Berea, someone who is baptized will share their testimony.
Right.
They'll share the specifics of their life, how they came to know Jesus, how their life has changed since they have believed in Him.
Okay.
And that this is a stand they're making. I want to follow Jesus.
Right.
It's a thing to do in front of the congregation. In that way, it's kind of similar to a wedding,
Okay.
in people witnessing.
Okay.
But it's also a spiritual thing.
Right.
In your relationship with God.
Okay. So as you said, it's a special ceremony. In the Baptist church, are there any other ceremonies also which have significance?
Well, the biggest ceremony, and not think I would use the word ceremony, but it's something that you would observe.
Right.
If you came to our church. Usually about once a month we have the Lord's Supper.
Okay.
And that was instituted by Jesus shortly before He was killed on the cross.
Right.
And it's a time when you reflect on your sins, thank Him for saving you, and together with the congregation, you receive the bread which represents His broken body,
Right.
and the juice in our church rather than wine,
Right.
that represents Jesus' blood. And it's a symbol, but also it's a reality of taking Jesus into your life.
Okay. And when we talk about the Baptist movement as such, how is it prospering all over the world? Could you tell us about that?
How is it?
How is it prospering all over the world? Like can the Baptists be found all over the world, or they're in some specific countries only?
Oh, where are they? They are in a lot of places in the
Right.
world. I can't really, I know that
So as far as
we have a missionary who is in Kenya.
Right.
that we support. So they have been all over the world.
Right.
Yeah.
And when we talk about Canada and especially the lower mainland,
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about your church as such. You know, how many members are there? What kind of activities do you indulge in?
Okay. Berea is a church that on a Sunday morning there would be about 100 people there,
Right.
From babies to seniors, and we have a good range of ages in the church, and it's an active church in which people respond to God's love
Right.
by wanting to serve and choosing to volunteer. One of the big events from last year was that a team from our church went to Zambia.
Okay.
This is, I think, the third time that they've gone to, we've sent a group to Zambia. The last trip they went on, among other things, they built some houses for the
Right.
people there and dug a couple of wells.
Okay.
But the really big, exciting thing is that was the beginning of sponsoring children to go to school.
Okay.
So 101 children are sponsored. That means providing them with shoes
Okay.
and uniform, tuition, a bag for their books, and all their school supplies.
Oh, wonderful.
And then a group went back this year, and this time they dug, I think it was 7 or 8 wells.
Okay.
And also did like fun day camps for children,
Right.
and provided them with meals at
That's
those.
wonderful. How you're involving the youth also. We'll go for a small break, come back, and we'll continue with the discussion.
Okay.
Thank you. ਸੋ ਹੁਣ ਤੱਕ ਜੋ ਸਾਡੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਹੋਈ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨੈਂਸੀ ਬੇਲੀ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਬਹਿਰੀਆ ਬੈਪਟਿਸਟ ਚਰਚ ਜੋ ਹੈ ਇਹ ਨਿਊ ਟੈਸਟਾਮੈਂਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਥਾਂ ਹੈ ਜਿਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਹੀ ਇਹ ਚਰਚ ਨੂੰ ਸਟੈਬਲਿਸ਼ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਬੈਪਟਿਜ਼ਮ ਜੋ ਹੈ ਇੱਕ ਬੜਾ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਟ੍ਰੈਡੀਸ਼ਨ ਹੈ। ਆਮ ਤੌਰ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਿਰਫ ਅਡਲਟਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਉਹੀ ਚੂਜ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਦੋਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਬੈਪਟਾਈਜ਼ ਹੋਣਾ ਹੈ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਟ੍ਰੈਡੀਸ਼ਨ ਬਾਰੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਵਿਅਕਤੀ ਜੋ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਪੂਰਾ ਗਿੱਲਾ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਉਹ ਸੋਕ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਪਾਣੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਜਿਸ ਨੂੰ ਕਿ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਤੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਉਹ ਬਾਹਰ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਹੈ। ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਚਰਚ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਇਵੈਂਟਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਆਰਗੇਨਾਈਜ਼ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿ ਖਾਸ ਤੌਰ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਸਪਰ ਜੋ ਹੈ ਜਿਸ ਨੂੰ ਕਿ ਹਰ ਮਹੀਨੇ ਕਰਾਇਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ, ਉਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਖਾਣਾ ਖਵਾਇਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ। ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਅੰਤਰਰਾਸ਼ਟਰੀ ਪੱਧਰ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਵੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਟੀਮਸ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਨੇ। ਵਾਪਸ ਆਨੇ ਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਲੈਣੇ ਆ ਨੈਂਸੀ ਬੇਲੀ ਤੋਂ।
ਜਦ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨਾਰਥ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਦੇ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਡੇ ਕੱਪੜਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਸਟੋਰ ਤੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਤਾਂ ਰੋਸ਼ਨ ਅਰੋੜਾ ਤੇ ਸੁਭਾਸ਼ ਚੰਦਰ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਖਿੜੇ ਮੱਥੇ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਨ। ਪੰਜਾਬ ਕਲੌਥ ਹਾਊਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਹਨ ਵਾਜਿਬ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ ਤੇ ਟੌਪ ਕੁਆਲਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਫੈਬਰਿਕਸ ਤੇ ਰੈਡੀਮੇਡ ਗਾਰਮੈਂਟਸ। ਲੇਡੀਜ਼, ਜੈਂਟਸ ਤੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਕੱਪੜੇ ਭਾਰਤ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਜਾਪਾਨ, ਪਾਕਿਸਤਾਨ, ਕੋਰੀਆ, ਚਾਈਨਾ, ਯੂਰਪ ਤੇ ਇੰਡੋਨੇਸ਼ੀਆ ਤੋਂ ਮੰਗਵਾਉਂਦੇ ਹਨ। ਮਾਲਕਾਂ ਦੇ 4 ਦਹਾਕਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਦਾ ਫਾਇਦਾ ਲਓ ਤੇ ਉੱਚ ਕੁਆਲਿਟੀ ਦਾ ਸਮਾਨ ਘੱਟ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ ਤੇ ਖਰੀਦੋ। ਅੱਜ ਹੀ ਆਓ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਕਲੌਥ ਹਾਊਸ।
ਵਨਸ ਅਗੇਨ ਵੈਲਕਮ ਬੈਕ ਟੂ ਦ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ। ਅੱਜ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਬਹਿਰੀਆ ਬੈਪਟਿਸਟ ਚਰਚ ਤੋਂ ਨੈਂਸੀ ਬੇਲੀ ਜੋ ਹਨ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਚਰਚ ਦੇ ਕੀ ਬਿਲੀਫਸ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਕੀ ਕੁਝ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ। ਆਓ ਹੋਰ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ। So before the break, like you were telling that now in Zambia you have been 3-4 times, and over there you have sponsored children also. So this means, is it just the youngsters who are going over there, or elders are also going? And how are you trying to involve the youngsters also in all this?
As far as who went on the trip to Zambia,
Right.
this past year there was a man who was 71 years old
Wow.
who was on the team, and a 17-year-old boy.
Okay.
And then a newly married couple in their 30s, and a young woman who I think is maybe 30.
Right.
I'm not sure.
So different age groups. Everybody.
Yeah,
going
it
over there.
was a small team this year. In the past, it's been a bigger team.
Right.
And maybe this year it was also a bigger spread of ages.
Right. So over there, as you said, you go over there, they dug wells also. So you provide just the money, or they go and do some service over there on their own also?
I didn't go on the trip myself. I know that they dug wells and they did programs for the children.
Right.
And helped some. They worked with local
Okay.
people there.
Right.
And more details I
Right.
don't really
No
know.
problems. One of the major challenges every religion right now is facing is that our youngsters are not coming forward. How is this church trying to involve the youth also so that they get involved in the church and carry on the traditions?
We have an active junior church program,
Right.
which means that the children come into the service for the beginning of like maybe a third of the service, so they
Okay.
experience our worship service,
Right.
and then they go downstairs and volunteers teach them. They have a singing time, they have crafts, so it's education at a child's level,
Right.
appropriate for the age.
Okay.
And this is for, there's a class for 3 and 4-year-olds that I volunteer with.
Right.
There's also a class for kindergarten through, I think it's grade 5.
Okay.
And then we also have a junior youth group that meets one evening a week, and a teenage youth group
Right.
as well.
So Nancy, with your experience, if you could tell us, is the church facing any challenge right now in the form of not many people coming forward for religious services, or people not coming forward as such as it compared in comparison to what it used to be earlier?
My first thought is we don't have children dropped off for Sunday school and the parents go off for coffee,
Right.
Or just go back home,
Okay.
which used to happen years ago,
Right.
right? I think our church is very active,
Right.
and has a good number of people, and we are seeing new people coming in.
Well, that's commendable, because
Yeah.
that's a very important thing, so that that tradition, that legacy continues.
And the thing that I really love about our church, I mean, there are many, many things that I do, but when I was a little girl, I learned a song, Jesus loves all the little children, all the children of the world, red and yellow, black and white, all are precious in his sight.
Right.
And in our church, we have people from the Philippines, from Korea, from India, from Grenada,
Okay.
more places. We
Right.
have people from, I think they're from Kenya.
Okay. So people from all the countries come over there,
Everywhere.
and they are welcome over there.
And they're totally welcome.
Okay. Let's
Yeah.
talk a little bit about a community garden which you are running. How did this idea come, and what all is being done in that?
Well, I first wanted to have a community garden at my townhouse complex.
Right.
Because it also is very multicultural. But we weren't allowed to get permission from the city.
Right.
But I had taken a course at an environmental center called Arasha in
Okay.
how to start a community garden, and I'd met women from this church, Berea, and so I called them up and asked if I could have a plot in their garden, and was told they hadn't started organizing it yet. So I became involved at the ground roots,
Right.
and quite quickly became the chairman of the committee. And so I just love this idea, because you want to meet people in your neighborhood, but you say hi when you walk down the
Right.
street. But if you have a community garden, which we have, it means we are inviting people from the neighborhood, of any faith or no faith,
Right.
to garden beside us.
Right.
So then we have a conversation of, oh my gosh, look at all the weeds, or wow, your carrots are growing wonderfully.
Better than mine, yeah.
So and you work together and teach each other,
Right.
and we have this one young family that has a garden plot. When their little girls come, I say, oh, come, Sadie, and look, you can come pick a strawberry in my plot. So it's a very interactive,
Right.
building community time, also giving people an opportunity to use our land to grow vegetables to make their families healthy.
Wonderful. And towards the end, if anyone just wants to be a part of this service, what you said, which is conducted every Sunday, can anyone come over to the church and witness it?
Oh yes, to come to our church service on
Yeah.
Sunday morning, everyone is welcome. It's at 10:30 in the morning.
Right.
And it's part of what's special about our church is the atmosphere.
Okay.
It's very friendly and welcoming.
Right.
There are usually 2 or 3 people at the door welcoming you. If they already know you, you'll get a hug, because they know you'll take that.
Right.
Of course, if you're new and shy, a handshake will do, or just a hearty welcome. Inside the service, People will welcome you, introduce themselves, and we'd be very happy to have you.
And what you have said is basically this is a place where everyone is welcome, and that true concept of multiculturalism is evident in your church.
Definitely.
It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. ਸੋ ਅੱਜ ਜੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ, ਸਾਡੇ ਮਹਿਮਾਨ ਨੈਂਸੀ ਬੇਲੀ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਜੋ ਚਰਚ ਹੈ ਇਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਭ ਦਾ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਇਹ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਅਤੇ ਜੇਕਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਇਸ ਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਵਿਟਨੈਸ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ, ਹਿੱਸਾ ਬਣਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ, ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਟ੍ਰੈਡੀਸ਼ਨਸ ਨੇ, ਕਿਹੜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ 'ਚ ਇਹ ਵਿਸ਼ਵਾਸ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਤਾਂ ਹਰ ਸੰਡੇ ਨੂੰ 10:30 ਵਜੇ 132 ਅਤੇ 68 ਐਵਨਿਊ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਇਹ ਚਰਚ ਜੋ ਹੈ ਬਾਰੀਆ ਬੈਪਟਿਸਟ ਚਰਚ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਗਾਰਡਨ ਜੋ ਹੈ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਚਲਾਇਆ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ, ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਕਾਮਯਾਬ। ਜੇਕਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਕੁਝ ਫਾਰਮਿੰਗ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਆਪਣੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ, ਤਾਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੰਪਰਕ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ।